Hi guys, it's me up and out for homeschooling in London, and I wanted to talk about what I've learned from actually starting homeschooling. What I've actually learned from my homeschooling journey so far, or our homeschooling journey so far. Um, and one thing I have learned is to stress less about everything. Um, I've generally been a very anxious person for most of my life, and when I had my son, it got worse, worse. You know, and when I started homeschooling, it kind of got worse as well because obviously I'm consciously. And the thing is, most mothers do that. Constantly worry about if they're doing the right thing. Constantly worrying about their kids. Constantly worrying about if everything's going okay. And even though that's normal, you still need to try and stress less. And when I say stress less, I'm talking about like constantly thinking about um like constantly worrying about the smaller things. If it's like for example, I've been stressing out so much about if I'm doing the right thing in terms of um obviously my son does QMON for the English, but for maths he doesn't do any QMON. He just does like he learns more or less organically for the maths. So and with all the topics that we do, it's more like unschooling. That's the kind of method that I've adopted for all the other topics. And since the beginning of starting homeschooling, I would stress about the curriculum. I would stress about curriculum. I would stress about making sure everything was perfect, everything was just exact, and if it wasn't, then I would just be like having sleepless nights about it. So what I've learned since starting homeschooling is to stress less about trying to create these perfect little curriculums, you know, because that hasn't helped me. And one thing I will say as well is if you're starting out your homeschooling journey, it's really good for you to watch YouTube videos. It's really good for you to read books. It's really good for you to read articles. It's really good to speak to other homeschooling mums. But it's not a good idea to try and emulate somebody else's homeschool journey and try and do exactly what they do, because your homeschooling journey, you and your children or child's homeschooling journey is going to be entirely different from another homeschooling family. One homeschooling family might be great doing the classical method, and it might go perfectly for them doing it like that. One homeschooling family might be great doing a Montessori style method and everything goes perfect for them. Well, not perfect, but everything works out accordingly for them. One family might be better doing like a Waldorf method. Another family might be better at unschooling. Another family might be better at doing like a mixture of the different styles, or just creating their own way of educating their children. So you might just look at one family and go, I'm going to do exactly what they've done because it's going to make things perfect and easier for me. And I have found that hasn't worked. And I think that when you do that, you a lot of the time set yourself up for failure, because when it doesn't work, you're like, how come it didn't work on my child? That's not fair. What's going on? Maybe I did something wrong. And it just creates more anxiety. So instead, when you first start the homeschooling, just try and do your best with the resources you have, and maybe buy a curriculum, see how that works. If that doesn't work for you, then you can create your own, or you can just use worksheets. But don't try and copy someone else and then expect everything to go exactly like the way it's gone for them. Your journey is always going to be different from another person's journey. And that's what I've learned since I've started homeschooling. I've learned that I can't just watch someone else's video and be like, right, my child is going to turn out exactly like that person's child, or my homeschooling journey is going to be exactly the same as their homeschooling journey because they've used that method, and if I use that method, it's going to be the same for me. It's not going to work like that. So so basically I've learned not to stress so much. I've learned to try and just see our journey as being our own journey and try and do things in our own way. This ties in with the stressing side of things, not putting so much pressure on myself. This third one ties into that. I've learned to try and take things as they come day to day. I always have I always have some kind of routine for my son because I think he needs structure and routine, but not to a point where it's so rigid that every minute of the day is something planned. Like in the morning, it is structured. Like we get up at a certain time, we start the day at a certain time, and we do our work in the morning, as in our QMon and our maths, literacy and numeracy work that's been set out. We'll do that, and then the rest of the day is literally he's to kind of like decide. You can say, I want to go to the park, I want to go to the museum, I want to go to the cinema, I want to go to the library, I want to go to just walk around and just look around the area. I want to go car spotting because he likes doing that and like remembering the names of the cars and stuff. You know, so different things. Or I want to do a project today. Mum, I want to do an art project. I want to do a craft project. I want to listen to music. I want to design something on my t-shirt. You know, so I'm doing it like that in the sense of like he has a bit of a routine in the morning, but then the rest of the day he can do what he likes. So yeah, I'm kind of learning not to stress so much about routine, like an entire day or week or month of routine. Another thing I'm also learning is not to try and create a 1-year program of work. That I did that in the beginning actually, even though I haven't been homeschooling for a year. When I first decided to homeschool, I sat down and wrote out a year-long curriculum and said, this is what we are going to do. Didn't work. Even the first week I realised it wasn't going to work. So, you know, what I've basically done is I've just got like, say for the next 3 months, I'll say this is what we need to get, the targets that we need to set for the next 3 months. And then I will sort of work that around the QMon, work that around the maths, the numeracy books that I'm using, work that around the activities that I'm doing, and also like for the areas where we don't actually do a set curriculum, sort of just say, okay, right, we need to try and sort of go out and identify various leaves and plants in a certain area over the course of the next 3 months. Not like, oh, tomorrow we're going here. We need to try and go to this list of museums, like 10 museums, 4 of those in the next however many months, rather than, right, we need to go to all these museums. Next Wednesday we go in here, next Wednesday we go in there, next Wednesday we go in there. No, like, rather than just do it like that, I'll just put a list of different places where we can go, a list of different kind of extracurricular activities that we could do. I'll put a list of those, and then I'll say, right, we're going to go and like pick out of all of those and just go next week Thursday or next week Friday or next week. Do you know what I mean? Rather than saying, right, for these next 6 months we're going to do this and this, because sometimes it's nice to be spontaneous, you know. What else have I learned? I've learned you don't have to spend a flipping fortune to do homeschooling. And when I first started, I really did think, I need to go out and buy this, and I need to go out and buy that, I need to go out and buy this and this and that, this and this, and spend an absolute ton of money. It's not necessary. You know, if you want to use books, you can actually get them secondhand. If you don't want to use books, you can get worksheets. You know, I've actually saved a lot of money using the internet, and actually printed out worksheets from the internet. I'm signed up with education.com, and you can print out as many worksheets as you want on there. Up to a certain point it's free, and then you've got to pay if you want to print out unlimited. But you can print out so many worksheets on there. Also various blogs as well that you can use. One of the blogs that I have been using is Confessions of a Homeschooler. I've been using some of her worksheets on there. Some of them are free, some of them you've got to pay for, but quite a lot of them that are really good are free. And JDA as well, I've used some of her worksheets, but I don't really know the name of her blog, I can't remember it, so I'll just try and see if I can link it below. So yeah, you don't need to spend a ton of money. Even like some of these Montessori equipment can be really expensive. You can create your own. I've created certain kind of Montessori style educational like materials, just using my own materials that I have in the house. I've probably linked below a video that I did about some educational activities that you can do and you can create yourself. Even art and crafts, you can just do your own. You know, you can create your own. You don't necessarily need to go out and buy craft kits and stuff like that. You can create your own, you know, craft projects and stuff like that. And even with science projects and everything, certain science projects you can do with the equipment that you have in your own house, rather than like go out and buy these science kits. I mean, science kits are really great, and I actually did buy a couple, and I'm probably going to buy some more actually. But I'm only going to get them when I can find them at a low cost. I'm not going to just go out and spend a fortune on them. You know, I've learned going to second-hand stores, thrift stores, jumble sales, as in garage sales, things like that. And you can get loads of decent stuff. And also you can just use stuff that's already around your house. Like, in the beginning, I didn't actually print out any worksheets because my printer wasn't working at that time, and you know, I wasn't prepared to buy a new one at that point because I didn't actually need one. It just needed to be fixed. So what I was actually doing was, sometimes I'll go to the internet cafe, but it started to prove expensive. So what I was actually doing was, I'd look on the internet and look for worksheets that I liked, and I'll take examples of that and just create my own worksheets, actually just like writing it down on a piece of paper for him, or in the book, and he would just go through everything, and it was, you know, he didn't mind it. Obviously going to the library as well is free to get books out. And also going to the library, there's also a lot of free educational activities and stuff that's available for children. So yeah, that's one of the things I've learned as well. You don't need to spend an absolute fortune. Another thing I've also learned is socialisation. I was really concerned about socialisation in the beginning because I really didn't understand homeschooling very well. I actually thought that homeschooling meant that you stay at home and literally just kind of, you know, teach your child and they never go anywhere or meet anybody. I did originally kind of see that way in the beginning. And when I started off, obviously I realised that they meet as many people as you want them to meet, really. Especially if you get involved with homeschooling communities, offline and online, especially if you go to like extracurricular activities and stuff, and if you join with like homeschool co-ops and stuff like that. So I actually really I'm not so stressed out about socialisation. I'm not stressed out about it at all actually anymore. I'm happy with the way things are. Another thing as well I've learned from homeschooling is not to show your stress to your child. If you feel anxious about anything, don't show it to your child. I think the minute you start showing your child that you feel stressed or anxious, that child starts feeling pressure to perform, because they feel like if they don't, they're going to disappoint you, or you will punish them or something like that. There's that, and also it can make them feel almost like, oh no, I've caused my mum to be stressed. Because my son's said that to me before, like when he's seen me sort of like, oh, you know, he'll go, is it because of me that you're like this, or that you're upset, mummy? Have I done something wrong? And I'll be like, oh gosh, it feels really severe. It's not a very nice feeling to hear that. So don't show your child that. And also, when you feel like your child is struggling and you think, oh gosh, what am I going to do? Don't start kind of like saying, right, you need to get it done, don't say any of those things, because it really doesn't work. Like, it's not the best thing to do when your child is struggling. It just makes it worse. It makes them actually not want to learn. So, and I'll be honest with you, in the beginning I was a bit like that, because I wanted my son to perform at the highest level, and I didn't want him to be like behind, if you know what I mean. But as time has gone on, I've realised that that's not the way forward. I was like that in the beginning, I'm not going to lie, but I'm not like that anymore. Anyway, this video is 14 minutes long. I don't want it to be any longer. But what have you learned from homeschooling so far since you've started homeschooling? Or if you've been homeschooling for many years, what have you learned over the years? Obviously, I haven't been homeschooling for that long, so over the years I'll probably learn a lot more, and I'll probably have a lot more to say. So, what have you learned? Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.